Bodies of several of the victims of yesterday's Joburg CBD fire have arrived at the Diepkloof Mortuary as the identification process begins. The Gauteng Health Department will also be holding a prayer service. They actually did a little earlier on today outside the 5-story building. And reporter Bafedile Moerane is in fact at the mortuary, the Diepkloof Mortuary in Soweto, and she joins us now live. Bafedile, a little earlier on, of course, you were at that particular briefing by the Gauteng Health Department and the Municipal Health Department about the fact that there's many family members who will have to go through a very long process compared to those whose family members are still identifiable.
Well, it's really definitely going to be a very long process, quite frustrating to the families who have expressed anxiety earlier on in the morning when they flocked here at Soweto in Diepkloof, having to find failure from government in relation to communication, as they were also told to go to Hillbrow. And then when they arrived at Hillbrow, they were returned to come back to Diepkloof. But as I speak to you right now, a number of families have went through inside as the identification process has really resumed. Only about 13 bodies can be visibly identified. The rest, which is 62, are beyond recognition, which then will be a process of DNA will have to follow. And the department has earlier confirmed to say that it's really going to be a quite difficult process at this point, and having to request to families that have been affected to say that please bear with us. The process might take longer, but they will definitely try their level best to speedify the process. We spoke to the head of communication, the Department of Health in Gauteng, Mr. Mudiba, earlier on, Masiho. Let's listen to what he said to us.
This means is that the forensic pathology team has done their work in terms of the bodies that were taken to our mortuaries. You'll recall that yesterday when the update was being given, we said that there's about 74 bodies at our forensic pathology services and also 4 body parts. So at that time, we were sure that there were 10 bodies that were unrecognizable, meaning that it's a full body, but the nature of the burns are such that we cannot tell who this person is. Even if the family were to come, there's no other way of them being able to identify that particular body. So having gone through all of the bodies, they then obviously, the update that has been given now is that out of those, it's no longer just 10, it's actually 62 bodies, 62 bodies that are unidentifiable, and only 12 are identifiable. Now, obviously, that then means that it will then delay the process of families being able to, be informed properly, because now the DNA process must kick in, because if we cannot identify, for us not to issue a wrong body to the wrong family, we need to allow the current process of DNA to unfold, which the SAPS is actually assisting with. They are managing that particular process. And
Bafedile, just tell me about some of the family members that you did encounter there looking for their loved ones. What have they been telling you? I understand that there's one you spoke to who said that he has lost 5 family members.
Very much frustrated as the families of the victims, in particular because there's no clear communication from government. All we knew about, we only knew actually about the numbers of 62 bodies that are actually unidentified just after doing the press briefing. The families were not aware. They are at this point inside the Diepkloof Mortuary there. That's when they will be officially be informed by the Department of Health. Earlier on, Masieho, the guy you indicated to is saying he's from Malawi, and he has lost about over 5 family members. He's still reeling in shock and very much frustrated at this point, but he has confirmed to us that there is absolutely no way they will do the repatriation of the bodies, as they have tried to engage officials from their country, the embassy here in South Africa, but having to fail to get a positive response. But however, they will have no choice but to bury their loved one here in South Africa, Masiho.
Just lastly, Bafedile, did you get a chance during that media briefing, for instance, to speak to any of the officials about, possibly counselling even for their members who work at that particular mortuary, having to deal with 74 people who died in one go in a fire?
What I understand at this point is that the MEC for Health in Gauteng yesterday has confirmed that, in particular for the patients that have been admitted in a number of hospitals within Johannesburg, there is a number of doctors that have been called to augment the staff. But in terms of the pathology, there's absolutely no clear indication as to what will happen in that regard. But the department has also emphasized to say that there will be a psychological services that will be provided to the traumatized families at this point in time.
All right, Bafedile Moerane joining us from Soweto there. She's outside the Diepkloof Mortuary, where many of families will be going there to identify their loved ones. Well, at least for now, we know only 12 will be able to tell exactly who their family members are. And while Bafedile and I were speaking, there's communication from the Gauteng Health Department. In fact, they say that the Minister of Health, that's Dr. Joe Phaahla, will be making his way to the Helen Joseph Hospital at 3 o'clock this afternoon. He's obviously going there to check on those who were injured. It was about 45. The number was about 45 injured when we ended off the day yesterday. He's going there with the MEC of Health in Gauteng, that is MEC Nomantu Ralehoko. They're going there to check and interact with those who were left injured after the blaze. Of course,